Jealousy, a fundamental emotional trait we all feel from time to time. But in the 21st century, this trait has been enhanced by the toxic digital world that we live in. Our personal social media pages have now become the CV for our own life experiences. And seeing as the majority of people's pages are open to the public, we get lost in this realm of comparing our lives to others, scrolling through our news feeds and looking at other people's highlight reels, wishing our lives were like theirs. Now this might sound depressing, but it happens, and you're not alone. I can't tell you the amount of times I had to stop myself from doing this growing up. I'd be scrolling through the newsfeed, watching other people's stories, the new houses they bought, the holidays they're going on, the new lifestyle changes, and it's simply not healthy. But I can tell you for a fact that watching their lives, or I should say their highlight reel, or their good moments, because let's be honest, people only shared the good on social media. No one's sharing all the negative stuff that happens in their life, the struggles that they face on a daily basis. They only want to show people the absolute best. Now, doing this on a daily basis is not going to get you any closer to the destination you want to reach financially. It's all a waste of time. But I know how you feel. After seeing content from your favorite creators, dare I even say it, me, you put your phone down and you reflect. And although this sometimes might kickstart some motivation to work harder or make more money, more often than not, you're left with these feelings of jealousy and envy and an overarching feeling that you're just not living your life to its full potential. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you a number of tips to help you both stop feeling financially behind and actually being financially behind. But firstly, let's dive into why, generally speaking, the poor stay poor. Sadly, a lot of people around the world are born into poverty or even grow up in third world countries. And that isn't necessarily what I'm going to be covering today. I want to be very careful about what I say because I do not intend to offend anyone in this video today. So I want to make it clear, I'm talking about why the working or middle classes in Western society stay poor and very rarely make it to the top 1% of wealthiest people on the planet. In my personal opinion, it falls down to two main factors. And the first is poor money management, or what I call the debt trap. Naturally, as human beings, we have the desire to have more and to be more. And for many, the way to express this is through material objects. And so many people live way outside their means. They buy expensive cars on finance that they can't actually afford. They'll buy clothes at the weekend on a credit card and have to pay it off over months on months. Almost every significant purchase is put on the tick, and they just surround themselves with a bunch of stuff they want but don't actually need. They're simply running before they can walk, and in doing this, they'll always stay poor because they're fighting an uphill battle, because they're cash negative instead of cash positive. Now, if this sounds like you, then write a list of all your debts and establish how many of those things are actually essential. Then work to pay them off, and next time you think about financing something that you don't actually need, then think about your future instead. The second thing, in my opinion, is bad habits and poor time management. The majority of people just don't use their time well. It's easier at the end of the day to sit in front of the TV or scroll through your social media pages. It's not easy to say no to going out with friends and instead spending that time educating yourself. And if that sounds like you, next time you think about putting Netflix on, head over to YouTube instead and watch some educational content on a side hustle that interests you instead. Maybe even head over to my second channel, Jordan Platten Extra, I'll put a link in the description, and learn about the business model that made me a millionaire before the age of 25, social media marketing. Anyway, those are some of the basic things you can do to avoid falling into the poor stay poor cycle. But what about if you feel financially behind right now? What does financially behind even mean? Well, it's all about perspective. And in life, we set goals and standards of where we want to be at certain points within our lives, at certain ages. I mean, I remember conversations throughout my life telling people exactly who I wanted to be and the things that I wanted to achieve. Then I would tell my friends that I wanted to make 100K a year by the age of 21. And we set all these goals and standards for ourselves that we pluck out of nowhere. And then within our subconscious, we hold our sense of self-worth to those standards we set previously. Now, because of this, at 21 years old, I felt an immense amount of pressure and sadness, because not only was I not making 100K a year, but I was also in £5,000 worth of debt. Now, looking back, that drove me so much, and it's one of the main reasons I am where I am today. But that's not to say it was this straight and easy path to making my first million, especially when it comes to my relationship with money and how much worth I associate to it. It's not until I went through this cycle of financial comparison a multitude of times that I realized that there will always be someone richer out there. There will always be someone for you to compare yourself to. And money has no true correlation to meaningful happiness. And so if happiness is your goal, and it should be, then you need to stop financial comparison altogether. Because if anything, it's just gonna keep you poor. So how do we stop comparing ourselves? Well, the first step is understanding your triggers and avoiding them. If you recognize that scrolling through Instagram triggers you, then limit your usage. And I know this is easier said than done, but what I mean by this on a micro level is when you go onto Instagram and you see a certain person on there that triggers you, unfollow them. Don't absorb their content. If you're following someone that fundamentally doesn't bring happiness into your life, then what are you doing? For motivation or for inspiration? That's BS. If it's having a negative impact on your motivation and the way that you feel about yourself, because you yourself need to be successful if you want your business to be successful, then just unfollow that person. It has no positive impact on your life. So don't waste your time doing it. When I first started my business, I read a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I cannot count the amount of times that I've mentioned it on this YouTube channel. But one of the things in the morning routine that Hal teaches inside that book is gratitude, and practicing gratitude every day. Every morning, writing at least 5 things that you are grateful for within your life. And when we practice gratitude and we make it part of our daily routine, we surge ourselves with positivity, and negative things like comparison to others just become irrelevant. And at the end of the day, the only person we should be comparing ourselves is us. Compete against yourself on a daily basis. Strive to become a better version of yourself every single day, even by just 1%. Your efforts should focus on growing from within, being kinder, more resilient, working harder, and being more open, instead of whether or not we're making more money than someone else. And remember, Colonel Sanders didn't launch KFC until he was 65. Apple didn't truly have its blow-up success until the iPhone launched when Steve Jobs was 52. And the average age globally for a startup founder is 40. So you've got plenty of time yet, so give yourself a break and focus.